Hello, I'm FGX and this is Q&A Saturday, the weekly series of on my channel answer your questions that have been asked over the past week or so across the last week's Q&A Saturday video. This is a fun once-a-week opportunity for me to have like a back and forth and answer your biggest questions from the past week about life, the universe, and of course Minecraft updates. So today we're going to be starting with actually following up from previous videos, questions, because a lot of people have had questions about, big things, such as this first one, which is from Austin Archer, who says, of all the features that Dinnerbone has wanted for a while, which do you want to come to the game most? And yeah, obviously, a part of me always says like dyed planks. The reason I bring it up as a big example, and did bring it up in that video, was because I think it's one of the most incredible sounding features. It'd be amazing to have 16 different colors of every type of plank, but I think the one that I would enjoy more, that would add most to my gameplay experience, would be either a new dimension, or failing that, as Dinnerbone mentioned, it would be really cool to have gold ore in the Nether. I think a proper reason to go to the Nether, more reasons to explore it, would be definitely a good thing, and I think the Nether, it's really fun right now. I've been doing a lot of cool things with it, but having gold ore in there, having something which actually benefits me in the form of beacons and powered rails and all that sort of stuff, would give me even more reasons to want to explore the Nether. So gold ore in the Nether sounds like a small one, but I think making the Nether a better place is something I'm super hyped about, and that's the answer to your question, the follow-up from the Dinnerbone, features video. But let's move into the second question, which comes in from Wonderful Films, because this is in response to last week's Q&A Saturday. I think I mentioned it offhandedly, what I did when I was 12, and this guy responds, you owned an advertising agency at 12, so I'd like to clarify that what I actually did is on the internet, when I was like 11, I got into like playing RuneScape, Habbo Hotel, games like that, and as part of that, there was kind of this like black market economy where you could sell your items in those games for a little bit of money, and as someone who didn't really have much money at the time, it was like, cool, I can play games and sell the stuff and kind of get paid for it, and then that kind of developed into like, oh, there's other ways to make money on the internet, and I realized there was a type of site where you basically could get paid to click ads, and I was like, oh, I could probably make a better one of these. I have a much better idea than anyone's doing right now, and in retrospect, it is probably a pretty arrogant idea for a 12-year-old to assume like, yeah, my idea is like the best, all of you guys, you're doing it all wrong. But yeah, so there was a Mexican dude who would make an entire site like this for $25. It was pretty cookie cutter, it was like using a script, and basically because of that, I set up one at 12 with a business partner, and then when I was like 13, 14, I set up the better one, and it was something like one of the like top 30,000 or top 10,000 ranked websites on the whole internet. I was a little bit pleased with that, and then at one point I just got like, the site started breaking, and I was kind of terrified, and I was like, oh man, I probably owe like taxes or something. You can't just make a lot of money and not tell anyone. And yeah, so the site kind of shut down when I was like 14, because, you know, like that was when I was depressed, going through school, etc. And yeah, that's the full story there. I feel like it's definitely not as impressive as you imagine when I might have accidentally said advertising agency. It's not like I had a huge tower and a desk and like 4 secretaries who were doing stuff. It was just like an online thing that I did in my spare time, because I find advertising to be one of the most fascinating things, which is why I've always done something related to advertising. And there you go, there's a little fun fact. It's not like impressive by any like modern standards or whatever, being like, oh, I turned over 5,000 a year, but like, as again, I grew up fairly poor, it was kind of cool like having actual like source of income that was coming in, and I blew it on entirely ridiculous things like cans of Mountain Dew that had to be imported from America. So there you go, there's another fun part of the, I guess, American story that some people are trying to piece together. So let's move to the next question though, which comes in from Sharkman7891, who says, what was the worst thing about getting robbed? Hashtag Q&A. So to answer your question, Mr. Sharkman, honestly, so when you get robbed, everyone assumes like, you know what the worst thing is it's losing the thing that got robbed. When you get your phone stolen, it sucks not having a phone. When you get your laptop stolen, it sucks not having a laptop. And I definitely want to say that it really does, like, not having stuff is awful, and the financial loss of like, you know, because in my bag there was all the things I needed as well, like there was over £1,000, probably close to £2,000 worth of stuff that's just gone. It's not coming back, unless for some reason 5 days later when the police are finally, looking into like what train it is, they somehow find the guy because he hasn't left the station yet or something like that. You know, like, it's gone forever. That sucks. That's a bad thing. But maybe this is useful for anyone else who's been robbed or whatever. But the worst bit isn't losing the stuff. It's the distrust of people. So I'm like a pretty paranoid person, and knowing that now that paranoia has been justified, like all those times that I've been super cautious, overly cautious, like worryingly cautious, that's all now justified in your head. Like knowing that like if you feel anyone touching you or whatever, you're like, oh man, like not being able to properly trust humanity for a bit is, I think, the worst part of I think any crime, because in general crime is an abstract thing, but when it happens to you, it's like a much more real thing. It's a whole weird thing, and I guess like hopefully it happens less in the future. That's the goal right there. But the other interesting thing is, because I was on the way to the airport, so I was going to Italy/Switzerland, a mountain in between them. It was 4,000 meters. It's -9 degrees Celsius, in case you're curious. Very cold up there is the point I'm just trying to make here. And because I lost my bag, and at the time I hadn't like showered yet that morning, I was wearing dirty clothes and I was going to change at the airport because there's showers at the airport. I was like, aha, I got a clever plan right there. But when I lost lost my bag, I lost my clean clothes as well. So I was wearing dirty clothes and I was on my way to Switzerland with just, like a passport and, like a card and I think my phone. It was like those three things and me trying to go to Switzerland and still make the trip happen. It was a real struggle, like trying to be at the airport being like, okay, so I need to buy, literally everything's gone. I need a charger cable. Okay, well, airport charger cables, how that's going to be. Okay, now I need like a battery bank of some form. Now I need clothes, to physically wear, plus the things that you need when you're going up to, somewhere so cold, etc. There was a whole like adventure almost in it of like, okay, I'm going to Switzerland now for 3 days with only dirty clothes. And I do have to say, by the way, that is like a funny idea for a YouTube title. I wish I'd vlogged it and done that whole thing. Missed out on the golden YouTube title of I went to Switzerland for 3 days with only dirty clothes. Wait. I can use it as a title of this video. Probably. I guess you can tell the title is, I can't. But yeah, basically it was a little bit of an adventure and it was interesting enough, I guess. So yeah, the worst bit is the distrust and like having to put stuff back together. And also knowing that someone's taken your stuff and they get like very little of the value out of it. They're just taking a lot more from you than they're even getting in return. It's just a really inefficient transaction. I don't know why I hate that part of it so much, but like, yeah, there's a lot to hate about it, as it turns out. But I think the worst bit is the loss of trust in like humanity for a bit. So yeah, if you're a human and I don't trust you, I'm sorry. Blame that guy, I guess. But let's move in to the final follow-up question from previous videos, because someone also responded in response to last week's Q&A. If you were to move to the US, stay away from California, the economy there is terrible. And this is an interesting one because in the US, most parts, at least as far as I can tell, the East Coast and the central parts, have like a real, not hatred for California, but a dislike, a distrust. And this comment in particular I wanted to respond to because I'm not like the biggest pro-California guy. I've said like, oh yeah, it's the logical place that most like, foreigners move to, and like it's obviously like there's a lot of cool things about it. I'm gonna go there sometime, but I think like their control over the tech industry, kind of scary. The whole Hollywood thing controlling most of the film industry in the world, kind of scary too. But it is worth mentioning, like in response to stuff like this, where a lot of people get it wrong, California does not have a bad economy. They have not only the biggest economy of any state in America, it's one of the faster growing ones. It grows by like significantly more than the US average. But then on top of this is my reminder to you, if you're a European, or really if you live in any state or any country around the world, there's only 5 countries with bigger, economies than California alone. One of the 50 states of America has a larger economy than Russia, a larger economy than pretty much any European country, Poland, Czechia, even a larger economy than Italy. It's the 6th largest in the world if you measure it independently, more than India or France. And my point here is just a simple reminder that California is way too huge. Partly, if you dive into the US history, it's kind of interesting as to why California is so much bigger than all the other states on the West Coast. But long story short, they're huge, not only in land area, not only in terms of economy and influence, etc. But it's a big state. Again, I don't intend to live there. It's very expensive and there's a lot of downsides, but if you did want to move there, I hear they've got like an $11 minimum wage and it goes way up in the cities. And also, like I've complained about tips before and how like they pay servers less than the minimum wage and then like expect the tips things, but if you get there's a whole tipping problem in America, I would say. But in California, you get paid minimum wage and you get paid tips. So if you want to be a waiter anywhere, a server, I believe they call them, then boom, California's got you covered there too. So just, I don't know, a useful fact, because I know a lot of Americans hate California, and I feel like unjustifiably so. There are good reasons to, but no one has good reasons. Everyone's just like, man, down Californians and their coast and their things. Anyway, with that said, let's move into the next question, which comes in from Exploding Wolf, who says, there should be more curses/cursed books. My idea is Curse of Haste. You cannot jump while wearing boots with this curse, and the attacker's curse. If you hit a mob or entity, you hit the opponent with the same attack damage as the weapon cursed with this curse. And although that's a super confusing wording to explain what a thing does, I think it is a really cool idea to have extra curses in the game. They added 2 curses in 1.11, I believe it was, and then just kind of left the curse system off the side. I think curses were a really interesting thing in Minecraft, and although they definitely do have too many enchantments and it's weakening the enchantment pool, I think it would be cool to see, like you say, cursed of no jumping. You can't jump while wearing these boots. That would be a really interesting thing. So if you wanted to do a Minecraft ROM without jumping, you could be trapped to the ground. But that could be a good thing in some ways because mobs can't knock you into the sky. There's so many fun ideas of like, oh yeah, having boots that stick you to the ground, iron boots, could be mostly a curse, but also maybe kind of useful. And then you've got like the reverse, Thorns idea. There are so many great ideas for curses in Minecraft. I'd love to have one that makes you counters undead, so healing harms you and harming heals you. There's so many like fun ideas. You could use curses to make things that are both useful and hurtful, or you could just make, bad curses, like, oh, it's a curse that does, like half a heart of damage randomly once every minute or so. Like, oh, that's an awful curse to have. I would love for them to use the curse system a bit more, and I'm curious as to why they necessarily haven't. Like, maybe there's just bigger things on the plate, or maybe they don't like the curse system, they put it in already. But yeah, I think curses are cool, and I'd like to see more too. I definitely agree. Also, have a nice day yourself, Exploding Wolf. But let's move in to the next question, which comes in from Xenoraptor, who says, favorite time of the year? Personally, mine is winter, and I'm definitely also a winter guy. I kind of like the autumn, I kind of like the spring. It's just summer that I can't bear in certain countries, because in most places it just gets unbearably hot. So many people love the heat, so much so that they, go on expensive holidays to places where it's slightly hotter than it is right here, and that is crazy to me because, heat is awful. Here's the thing about heat, it feels kind of nice when you're just laying in it, right? And I guess it's nice when there's a pool nearby to cool off in, but like here, the problem with heat versus cold, when it's cold, you wear something warm, you keep the warm thing in, and then, or you can warm up the entire house. It's easy. If it suddenly starts getting a little bit warmer, let's say it goes from -5 to +5, you're like, oh, I'll take off this big thick jacket, it's fine now. However, if that happens in a hot country, it's like, oh, it goes from 35 to 45, it's like, oh yeah, so now you want to take off your skin? No, you die. You feel very hot, you need water, or you literally will dehydrate, and a lot of people die every year because of just the sun being awful. I don't understand how anyone is more pro-sun than, like, pro-cold. And yeah, I guess, honestly, the only thing I like about summer is the fact that the days are a bit longer, so if you spend all day, maybe recording, maybe playing games, you do some things with screens that you maybe shouldn't, you can still go outside at the end of the day, and it's, like, kind of sunny out there. You're like, I didn't waste the day, because I've still got an hour of sun between 9 PM and 10 PM. That's what I like personally. Maybe I'm the crazy one, but that's my favorite time of year. Definitely the colder months, or anywhere where it's just cold all year round. That's my ideal time of year. In fact, my ideal temperature is cold, and the ideal time of year is just following on from that. Also, Christmas is great. So let's move on to the next question, because I could talk about how much I hate the heat and love the cold all year long. But let's move on to the next question from Captain Steve, who said, if I remember correctly, there was talk of a Minecraft movie 2 years ago that was supposed to release on summer of 2019. Any info on that? And it's really funny because, yeah, there was meant to be a Minecraft movie. It was meant to release in, the middle of 2019. So here's what happened. Notch first revealed the movie back in 2014, and then it kept getting kicked back and forth. So they eventually signed up, it was signed with Warner Brothers. They eventually signed up a director to the project. It's like, oh yeah, let's make the Minecraft movie happen. And then the director kind of got fired, and they got the guy from Always and Sunny to be the director. They're like, yeah, we're going to make a movie. It's going to be great. A couple years later, it's like, here's the script. It's going to be finished in 2019. We're doing it now. The movie's happening. And then another couple of years later, the Minecraft team changed their mind on what they wanted in a movie. The vision of the project changed. So they got another, set of directors. It's actually 2 directors this time, and there's a lot of different stuff going on. And there's just an indefinite, I don't know, probably later than 2020 kind of date for this thing. It's one of those movie projects that's just been kind of floating around for a very long time. And I guess at this point, the anticipation keeps building. So yeah, will there be a Minecraft movie anytime soon? The very soonest you'd see it is 2020, and that's being optimistic about a movie which has been in production for 6 years. So yeah, long story short, you won't see this anytime soon. It doesn't even sound like a very good idea. So honestly, hearing it's delayed is like, oh no, but I was going to see Minecraft, but in real life. Oh no, I was excited for that. It was going to be like Minecraft story mode, but real actors. I'm so disappointed. It's not coming. What a shame. So let's move to the next question, which comes in from Steven the Alien, who says, Q, since they are bringing back features that were never added, and this update is themed around villagers, illagers, and pillagers, do you think they will bring back the Illusioner? I hope so. Maybe you could spawn in a tower in the mountains or in a sky island. Also, you said that you might make a video about removed/never added features in Minecraft that might make a comeback in 1.14. Are you still going to make it? And this was before I made that video, so yes, I'm still going to make it, and I did make it. It was uploaded Thursday. Go check it out. But no, to answer your actual question, I think the Illusioner coming back is one of those things that just seems like it makes sense now. In the last few updates in particular, they've really been focusing on this illager-like concept, kind of human-like characters in Minecraft. Think about all the types of illagers, now pillagers, different villagers. It just makes so much sense to add the Illusioner. But yeah, I think they're waiting for the perfect moment to add it. I think they need to have the right kind of thing for it. Like a tower would be a good idea, like you said, or just a brand new structure altogether. So yeah, I think the Illusioner is coming back. I think he'll get his own structure, and that's why they've been waiting. And it's just one of those really odd things that oh yeah, the Illusioner exists in Minecraft right now. It's just only in the game code and never kind of gone beyond there. To me, that's odd at least, but maybe I'm the weird one here. Let's move into the next question, which comes in from Skylar McDowell. It's the final question, and he asks Q&A, what video editing software do you use and why? So I use Adobe Premiere, and my editor, who edits around 20% of my videos, uses the other one, Sony Vegas. I don't know why its name always escapes me, but there's two huge editing programs that are like kind of high-end. There's Premiere and there's Vegas. Vegas is a one-time purchase, whereas Premiere, I don't believe you can get it without purchasing a subscription anymore. So Premiere's cheaper up front, but it costs you money every month, whereas, Vegas has the once and done kind of system. So which one is objectively better, would I say? There isn't really, I've got one kind of thing. Like, there's things that Premiere does really well that Vegas is really awful at. There are things that Vegas does well that take me forever to do in Premiere. But again, based on the fact that the same videos on this channel are made through two different programs, you can kind of see that, like, in the end, there's a certain part of, like, preference meets the content versus what you want to do with it. Honestly, any video editing software, as long as you can do everything you want to do with it, that's all that counts. Like, it's not like when you open up a fancy editing, it's like, oh, there's this button that just magically does everything for me. It's like, no, you have to, every program just has a different learning curve and a different set of abilities. But, like the first 5 years I was on YouTube, I used Windows Movie Maker, so don't feel bad about whatever one you use. That's the key message here. But also, I want to also say thank you to my editor, again, Legendary Potato. He's been helping out with a lot of the videos recently that you have been seeing. And when my laptop was robbed, he was the one that made the dinner bone video because I couldn't otherwise make it. So I just wanted to quickly thank him and mention this one more time. That, like, yeah, we use different editing softwares, and you can sometimes spot tiny differences, but otherwise, it's all the same. And maybe that's a reminder to you that you're not, no matter what editing software you use, you're all a human regardless. I don't know what message I'm trying to get across here besides, you're not, maybe I like Premiere a little bit better, but you can like Vegas, and you're not, just because we disagree on one thing, it doesn't mean we have to disagree on everything. Boom, there you go. That's a valuable lesson that you can remember forever from this one video that you watched and now have finished watching. If you did all enjoy it, like it or whatever, you can share it if you really want to, and you can subscribe with notifications turned on if you want to help me reach 1 million, because, like, that is actually, like, like a potential thing that could happen, Like, it's always a thing where you just like, oh yeah, when I hit 1 million, it's like, well, I mean, you don't know for sure if you'll hit 1 million. There's a lot of factors outside your control, but if you want to make the 88,000 subscribers I need go down to 87,999, you can hit the subscribe button. Would be a weird reason to do it, honestly. If you only want to subscribe because you like seeing numbers go up, I mean, I just feel like that's a bad reason to subscribe. But if you want to subscribe anyway, and this is the thing that's tipped you over the edge, then sure, I'll take it. And thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you for lending me your time, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.